Hey guys, before the show gets started today, I want to make you guys aware of a friend of mine's GoFundMe. A few months ago, my friend James Shepard, who works over at Space Rehearsal Recording, and I see him at least once a week because I'm always rehearsing over there with Skyrocket. He's the guy that lets us in his room. We end up talking all the time, and he is a really wonderful person. Anyway, a few months ago, he found himself having some trouble going up and down stairs. And after visiting his neurologist and a series of MRIs, he found out that he has multiple sclerosis. Now, while multiple sclerosis is a debilitating disease, there are some treatments out there, but those treatments are extremely expensive. And someone was kind enough to start a GoFundMe for my dear friend James Shepard, and it's going to be. You can find this GoFundMe, the link to his GoFundMe, down at the bottom of the text of this podcast. Now, if you can find it in your hearts and in your wallet. Kick James a little money. This treatment costs $75,000. He's looking for $75,000. It's probably a little bit more, and his insurance is covering some of it, but there is $75,000 bill coming for this treatment. Give to his GoFundMe if you can, and let's help James Shepard out. All right? Thank you for listening to that, and now, on with the show. Hey gang, we all know Spotify has become the ultimate app destination for music lovers. I have an account, and I love it. I find new music by following Tastemaker playlists, and I make my own playlist that I share featuring music from guests that have been on the show. But did you know that aside from millions of songs, Spotify now has all of your favorite podcasts, including How Did I Get Here? Yes, all of your podcasts are available on Spotify. Just go to Spotify.com or download the app from your app store, and don't forget to follow How Did I Get Here? That's Spotify. Millions of songs, thousands of podcasts. Let's get down.
And you may ask yourself, well, how did I get here?
It's time for How Did I Get Here? And now here is your host,
All right. Hello, I'm Johnny. I'm your host. Welcome to the show. I hope you guys have all had a great weekend, whatever it is you did this weekend. I actually had a really good weekend. I got to see some music. I got to check out a friend of mine's studio. I got to go paddleboarding with my loved one. Yeah. So, all right. So I saw Scott Collins play on Friday. He did a solo show, and then I ended up seeing him on Saturday night as well. At Mohawk, he was opening for the great Zach Person. I got to see Zach Person's last show before he heads out to Europe for his big European tour. Man, that guy's great. If you get a chance to see him, get out there and see him. Scott Collins also, his band, On Fire, man. Those guys were great. It was a great night of music all around, great night of fun. I checked out some mezcal that night. Anyway, then Sunday I got to go and check out my friend Andy's studio. Andy McIntyre, who you've heard on the show. He's got a cool studio out at his place, got some really fancy speakers, got to hear some music on those speakers, even my own music, some of his music, some other people's music, met some cool dudes. And then Sunday night, I went paddleboarding. I live on Lady Bird Lake, never been paddleboarding, went paddleboarding for my first time on Sunday evening. It was great. It was amazing. And as I said, I did go with my loved one. You guys listen to the show regularly. You know that I was involved with a very lovely woman named Terry for a few months last in the spring. And then when summer hit, we parted ways for a little bit, but we have had a reconciliation, and it has been amazing. Look, man, it's difficult to keep a relationship together. It's difficult to get through the initial excitement of a relationship and then on with the work, right? It is. It's very difficult. And people, you know, as they get older, they have more baggage coming into the relationship. And it's a matter of keeping the lines of communication open. And that's what I'm learning. I think that in the last 6 weeks or 2 months or whatever that we weren't together, I think that we both found out a lot about ourselves and realized a lot more about each other than we actually knew. So that's what's going on in my life right now. It was a crazy week last week. It was a great weekend. It was great to get out and see music again. I don't know what's happening with this. We're entering stage 5 here in Austin. Skyrocket has a couple of shows this weekend here in Austin at 310 ACL Live. I think there's some tickets left for Saturday night show, but there was a low ticket alert out this morning. So I don't know if both of those shows sold out or what, but I also don't know. I hope people wear masks. I hope people are vaccinated. Get vaccinated, man, if you're not vaccinated. How are you feeling about this stage 5 thing? I don't know, man. My friend Kevin Russell sent me a thing. I don't know if you guys, those of you that live in Austin, read the Austin 360 thing. My friend Peter Blackstock wrote a story. He went out and talked to a bunch of different people. But my friend Kevin Russell from Shiny Ribs sent me a text the other day with a petition to fill out and or to sign to say that people need to show their vaccination cards to get into a show. I really don't think that's unfair. I think it, as we've seen in the last month or so with all these musicians and bar people getting the thing, getting the coronavirus, that having to prove vaccination will keep everybody safe. All right. We've seen that even the vaccination doesn't totally stop it in everyone. So get yourself vaccinated before you go out. Wear a mask. Be careful. Just be cool. I'm looking forward to playing these shows. I'm not cool with stage 5, but if everyone gets vaccinated, we can get out of this shit and get on with our lives, right? Hopefully so. Did I ramble too much? Gang, I have a great show for you today. My dear old friend Ryan Holley just released a brand new single called Home, and that is a series of singles that he'll be releasing a single a month for the next 10 months on Independent Ear Music Group. You can find it wherever it is that you stream and download your jams. Ryan Holley and I have been friends for about 20 years. I met him in San Marcos, where he booked a show at the Triple Crown for my band Gowdy and his band Pavlov's Dogs, and then we ended up becoming friends, doing some acoustic shows together, and then eventually playing together. He was in Johnny Gowdy and the Little Champions. And we've had some really crazy times. We've had some great times together, and we're great friends. And it was great to catch up and talk to him about all of his new music. He's been writing and recording. He also has this band called Departure ATX, which plays around town and plays private events. They do mostly Journey covers, but also some other covers. Man, they do killer Rosanna, by the way. Anyway, Ryan's been writing songs and recording songs, and he was getting stuff done during the pandemic. You can find out all of this at ryanholley.com. He's hopefully going to be playing some gigs out. We're hopefully going to be doing a gig, maybe out in Dripping Springs if you live out in that area. I think we're going to do a show together with our friend Nathan Harlan. Anyway, Ryan Holley, his song Home, absolutely fantastic. Ryan's a beautiful guy, a great musician and a great songwriter, a great singer, great guitar player, and we have a fantastic conversation. So without further ado, please enjoy my conversation with my dear old friend, Ryan Holley. Let's get down.
Can you be alone tonight? This will have to wait. And I don't wanna fight.
Living out in the country, dude, on a couple of acres.
Yeah, it's nice, man. I never thought I'd really like living out here because I went to high school close to here and I really hated that town.
Yeah.
Whenever I was younger, but it's great out here, man.
How far is it?
It's actually not too far. It's probably about 20 minutes from Georgetown, like due west. And it's like 15 minutes from Cedar Park, so it's not that far.
Oh, that's not bad. So did you write like you're going to be releasing a bunch of singles, and by the time this comes out, the single Home will be out, which, by the way, great song. And also,
thank you.
I was saying this to Wayne Sutton the other day. It's interesting when you get to spend 10, 20, 30 years watching someone develop their craft, and their artistry. It's an interesting perspective after a while. And the thing that struck me when I first heard Home was that there's a breathy singing that I've never heard you do before. And it's amazing.
Yeah, it's really funny, but I'm trying a lot of different vocal techniques. I've really been studying up the last 4 or 5 years, man. I think that, obviously singing 4 hour sets with Departure has been kind of whipped me into shape in terms of having to broaden, stylistically broaden what I'm doing, and not, cause I've always been kind of a belter, man. I looked up to a lot of, guys that really belted it out and really did that. And I just never felt like I was really good at singing any other way. And I think that, doing this, cover and tribute thing has been really great, man. Cause I've had to learn how to sing a whole bunch of different, rock styles. I mean, they're all, I'm still, very much a rock singer, but I've had to really branch out and kind of tap into different parts of my voice that I, just weren't strong enough before, I guess.
Yeah. For those that don't know, that Departure is a band that does Journey and like some other rock stuff as well.
Yes. Yeah. And we're
Great
doing,
rock stuff.
we've had like Boston, we started adding some Boston tunes, and, yeah, man, it's really, it's fun. We had Steven Six on bass with us on Saturday.
Oh, nice. Classic.
It was awesome, dude. He learned all of our set, or literally 95% of our set in 4 days, and nailed it.
Wow.
It was great.
Wow, man. And Brad,
really cool.
Brad played with you. Brad Byram came back and did some.
Yeah, so Brad was with us last week as well. It's kind of a wild week. We had to sort of scramble to find somebody. I had to fly Brad in from Nashville for 2 corporate gigs that we had down in Rainy on Monday and Wednesday. And of course, it rained like hell on us both days, like at different times. And we were under a tent or whatever. But and then we had to get Steven stepped up to the plate, man, and knocked it out of the park on Saturday out in Johnson City. And we had a great show out there too, man. It was really, really fun.
That's awesome, man. So here's the thing, that when you were just singing those 3-hour sets, I was like, oh shit, like we play 3-hour sets in Skyrocket, but there's 19 people singing. Like I sing an average of like 5 songs at the most a night. You know what I mean?
Yeah, man, it's wild, dude. I usually sing 25 songs a night. And sometimes it'll be more, but it's usually, I'll sing lead on, probably maybe like 23, I guess. But then I split other vocal duties with Giovanna McDaniel, who's a fantastic singer as well. And she's moving back to Sacramento.
Oh no.
Dang it. But she's still got to come out for shows. But yeah, it's a lot of work, man. I think that's one of the things that I've really focused on, that I'm really, really proud about most, is just the endurance, man. I've been able to stick through longer sets, and it gets pretty rocky at the end, and it sucks because that's whenever everybody starts filming. They're like, "Oh, it's the last song," and I'm up there like, whatever. But yeah, it's interesting.
Yeah, man. So this song "Home," did you work with Steve Shady?
Man, okay, so I didn't work with Steve on this one. I have half of the singles that I'm going to be releasing, I started with Steve, but he's literally been living at Willie's Ranch for like the last 16 months.
Right.
And he just evacuated there. So he's back in Denton full time, but I think they did 2 records, man.
Yeah.
I know he did serious edits on one that had been recorded, I believe, and then they did another new record. So there's a ton of stuff coming out, but we didn't get to work on my stuff. But that's okay, because the stuff that I did with Steve is going to be coming out in the coming months. But I did this stuff with Miles Taylor Manglos at Wolf Creek Studios, which is no longer there already. It's fucking crazy. I mean, I'm sorry. It's it's weird because months and months and months of doing this, actually years of working with this guy, and with all the crazy shit that went down, it's just gone. Housing market, / COVID stuff. And so, but man, we did a lot of really good work, and it's all my stuff except for one tune, out of the 10 tunes. There's only one tune that's not mine.
Oh, awesome. So you recorded 10 songs.
Yeah, so I have 5 with Steve, and I did 5 with Miles.
That's awesome, man. Okay, so you signed with this label, Ear Music Group?
Yeah, Independent Ear Music Group.
Independent Ear, sorry.
Yeah, no, that's all right.
Independent Ear Music Group. And was it their idea to do the... It's weird not to put out a record, isn't it? I mean, you and me are guys that have made records, and that's what you do. You made a record. You didn't go make a single. I've never even heard of that.
I know. It is really weird. And yes, to be honest, it was mostly their idea, but I've also been, teaching a lot and doing a lot of vocal coaching and stuff for the last several years. And one of the things that I've noticed with some of my, older, teenage, early 20s artists is that they're all doing singles. And man, one of my students that just left, he moved to LA, and he's Luke Beasley, man, he's kicking ass. He's got like 10 or 12,000 Instagram followers and constantly producing quality content. I mean, it's fantastic stuff. And so I'm actually happy about doing singles. It is a lot more work.
Yeah.
I think in the end, but I do like the idea of releasing singles kind of as a concept, like literally like a kind of like a concept album, but just do it one single at a time. And that's kind of what I'm doing. And I'm pretty excited about that.
Yeah. That's awesome. Sorry, I've got this dog sleeping on my neck in this weird way. Yeah. It's not my dog. That was part of the emergency, as I ended up taking a dog that she was dog sitting. Oh no! Yeah. Wow. Hey, man. It seems like a nice guy, lady. I'm not sure which, but they seem. He's nice. A nice guy. Yeah. Nice. Right on. Yeah, it's funny. I've been releasing. I mean, a lot of people have been doing it. I think a lot of it is that now in this time. Like, do you listen to albums anymore? Like whole albums? Just like, hey, I'm going to listen to this album today. Yes, man. Okay. It's hard to do that. It is. And I it's either that or I listen to the same damn song like 10 times in a row. Right. It's weird. Right. But yes. But it's funny because even like, I mean, I listen to albums, mostly the albums that I listen to in their entirety are just ones that I have to listen to before I talk to somebody, right? Not that I have to listen, but I need to listen to them. So I'll listen to somebody's whole album front to back, maybe even twice. But as far as like my own listening patterns, I realized like a month ago that I wasn't ever listening to whole albums anymore at all. I just wasn't. Like, so I started doing it every day, like on purpose, like picking an album and listening to it start to finish while I'm making dinner and eating. Man, yeah. And I'll be honest too. It's like, I didn't really start doing that again until the pandemic hit last year. And it was, and I started with, going back to some stuff that I really missed, and I didn't know how much I missed it until I did it. And then the more you do it, the more, like when you hear just one song off the record, you're kind of pissed that the rest of the record's not coming. You know what I mean? It's like, and it's wild, but and I've been doing that with the last Anderson East record lately, man. Holy crap. It is really fantastic. Yeah. And so I'm trying to do it more as well. But like I said, man, I wasn't doing it really like that until about a year ago, man, year and a half ago. So it's nice to get back to that. Dude, totally. All right. So how did you do during the pandemic? Like what went down for you? Man, I didn't really, I wish I'd done a lot more live streams, but I just, on the technical side of things, like as far as recording even, I spent that time getting my own recording setup rolling, and I should have done it years ago, but I just, I don't know. It's hard. It's like there are people that are so much more qualified to do that sort of thing than I am. So it's like I always, anytime I record myself, even when I got my stuff, I'm just like, oh, this is why I don't do this. Right. But man, we were actually pretty good out here. Thank God for, simple, like curbside pickup and that kind of stuff. But man, we stayed out here and we had I had, pretty much everything we needed out here. And then I taught remotely. I had about, 20 to 25 students a week. And that's great. And it kept going. And I think that it was really good. It was really good for me because I was kind of anti-virtual learning in terms of music lessons for a long time. And then I'm not anymore. Like I think that there's plenty of things like vocal coaching is and just vocal stuff is very hard to do if they don't have like the same kind of equipment I have, which I'm not using for some stupid reason. Sorry. But it's like, having like an interface and a decent microphone and all that stuff. But man, I just stayed teaching and writing, and I started working on the record. We did continue playing a little bit, but we were doing like Legacy Hall was really the only place. And the great thing about that place is you park, they reserve your parking and you park right behind the stage and then you walk on stage. Okay. And there's barricades and shit. So there's no so we did probably 3 shows that ended up being huge for us during that time. And it was also very well managed in terms of social distancing and protocols and all that kind of stuff. So we felt safe doing it. And
Yeah, man. I mean, that's pretty much it. Like I did a lot of writing and I worked on the record a whole bunch, and I would fly stuff over to Miles and say, hey, what do you think of this? And he'd be like, oh yeah, man. Then I'd go over there and be like, okay, we're going to redo it because it sucked. I mean, he was a lot nicer about it, but I learned a lot about tracking, and honestly, man, I feel like I kind of tapped into I'd had writer's block for a long time, and I really wanted to do the kind of whatever this is, like kind of Gothic Americana, like darker Americana stuff or country type of stuff for a while, but I just never really had I was always trying to play other people's shit, man. I needed to find it myself.
Yeah. Yeah. Do you still go play guitar with people?
Man, actually, I haven't done it in a long time, but I'll be playing guitar for Nathan Harlan whenever he releases his single.
Oh, killer.
Yeah, we've gotten together. We got together once, but I've had the material, and we were going to do this week, but we're postponing to next week because this week is really wild with the release and everything. But yeah, so I'm going to get back in them, and we're going to do. We were supposed to do Swan Dive, and it got moved due to something they had going on, and so I'll post about it though on my socials whenever it does. But yeah, I'm really excited, man, because I mean, anytime I hear Nathan's songs, I'm just like, why can't I write songs like that?
Yeah, he's a fucking great songwriter.
Man, yeah, top notch. It's wild. It's wild. But yeah, I was really honored that he asked me to do that. But yeah, that's really the only, because I'm not playing with the Revival anymore.
Right.
And so it's nice to get out and do that. I'll admit it. It's a lot of work, man. I'm used to kind of being a vocalist now, and I like the idea of focusing on vocals. And so it'll be nice to get back in and do some of that.
Yeah, man. You didn't do any live streaming during the...
Man, I did a few. I did one with Independent Ear before I signed with them. This was like right at the very beginning of all of it. And then I did one brief one that was actually supposed to be, it was Musicians Woodshed, and it was supposed to be a live stream, and Tony had recorded the audio, but it didn't stream. And so I did a short one, but that's it, man. I didn't really do anything else. I wanted to, but man, other than the Hudsons, like whenever we would do a Hudson show, like they would do streams, but I don't know, man. I just didn't feel like it captured what I did. And I'm kind of a loud singer anyway. And I would try it. I got EBS, and I was recording and trying to get it right. And I'd always overload something, man. I'm too fucking loud.
Yeah. I did it fucking super lazy style. Like I just got a light and put my phone up, and because these phones, they're good enough. You know what I mean? Man,
and that's what I'm saying. I really wish that I had done more of that, to be honest. And especially since I knew that I was going to, be putting something out, but it is what it is. And I feel like I've made up for it in the last, 3 or 4 months. Cause I know that I've done several Hudson streams, and then they did another one from the Musicians Woodshed with Emma Dean Mosley and Brian Patterson, who are both amazing. I wish more people had seen that, because man, that was a lot of fun, and they're both top notch.
I'm a huge Brian Patterson playing guitar fan.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Emma's boss too, man. It's wild. She's a far better guitar player than I am already. And she's, a great writer and great singer too. So let me ask you this about the pandemic, because this is one thing I've noticed is that people like us have just been in motion since we started doing this. And there's at least a gig a week, at least in our lives, if not more. Right. So there's been a couple of different people I've seen come back from this. And there's two different mindsets. There's I'm doubling down. I'm doing this. A lot of people are like, I'm not taking any more gigs playing guitar with anyone. I'm doing my own shit now. I gotta, whatever. And then there's people like Bob Schneider, like Trish. Like even Trish was just like, hey, you know what I learned this year? We don't have to do this all the time. Yeah, man. And
especially with you. You got a new family. You got to spend a year at home with your kid, which...
Yeah. That was the best thing. That was absolutely the best thing about the whole thing. If there was, there was a lot that went on, man. It's like, I lost my dad in December, and there was just a whole bunch of stuff. But man, just looking back on what a clusterfuck the year was, and then in the previous years, the political climate and just the the protesting and things moved, I think, in a very good direction, in terms of all of that. But it was just such a wild and intense year that, man, I don't know. It's really wild, man. I think that that was the best part, man. Getting to spend a year home with my very young son and my wife.
Well, when you came back, was when everything was coming back up, you started getting gig offers again. Obviously, you want to do these corporate gigs and stuff like that. That's basically what Trish was saying is like, I don't want to go to Hanover's anymore. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, not that that's a bad place. We've done it for fucking 12 years, and it's never,
man, absolutely.
It's never changed. It's never been so packed no one can get in. You know what I mean? It's just kind of like, well, look, man, we've run that course, and it's a decent amount of money, but it's not like corporate money. And at some point you got to say, like, my, 50 plus year old body, like, what all do I want to put it through all the time?
Man. And it's true. I mean, I think that that's been something like where we've definitely rounded the corner on kind of what we're doing, and the quality of the band, I mean, is top notch right now. And that's one of the, like, at least as far as departure goes. And so we are absolutely trying to go after some of those, because we did 3 gigs last week, and I mean, I'm dead right now, but it was wild, but it was also a very good week. And I'll be honest, man, it was probably one of the best weeks I've ever had. So I'm confident, but I'm also cautious with obviously what's going on and trending, or not trending, but with Corona going on right now. It's like, we've got 2 solid weekends of public shows coming up in 2 weeks or a week and a half, and I'm wondering what's going to happen. Yeah, we do too. We have Legacy next month, and we've got Bucks, and we've got another new place here in Liberty Hill the first weekend of August, and then so we've got some pretty big, like at least one really big event coming up, and I mean, we're all concerned about it, and not just because of the event, obviously, but it's just like, that the implications that come with that. It's like, I can't, like, getting going and then really hitting, like momentum, and then having to slam on the brakes again is, it's like,
that's an awful feeling. But also, like, I mean, now okay, so you played these gigs last week. Let me ask you this, because this was happening to me, and I saw it totally happening to our bass player, who has issues already with that stuff. It was like, he had his mask on. We played a wedding on Saturday. He had his mask on, and his eyes were like fucking saucers and just darting around, and like he was just scared shitless. And he sings a few songs. He was like, I'm not singing any songs. I'm not getting that close to it. It can be pretty intense.
Oh man. Yeah.
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 Like, have you been a little like, oh shit, when you're going on stage? Like,
yeah, man, especially like you played, probably thousands of shows, and it's like, it's like there are some, like I said, like the Legacy Hall gig, or like the Shoals gig, like we're playing there. We're supposed to play there on opening weekend, man, like right before the game and shit. And it's like, Shoals has been really, really good about social distancing stuff. And I mean, to the max, dude.
Oh,
like,
Schultz's Beer Garden.
Yes.
Oh,
yes.
yeah. And plus you're outside and you can park back there and once again just walk right on stage with no problem.
Yeah, yeah. And some of these, so we've done a ton of outdoor events, and I've felt way, 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 way better about those. As a matter of fact, I've kept our indoor events to one place, like literally one place in the last several months.
Hudson's.
And it's been the same place. Yeah.
Yeah.
But man, that's definitely going to be more of an issue moving forward. Like, it's not so much of an issue, for a couple of guys in the band. Two of my members have had COVID, and at different points. And luckily, one of them we had to hire a sub for. The other one, it had run its course over 2 weeks, and he had gotten a clean bill of health. So not so much for them, but I know that moving forward, it will be for me. I mean, I'm very much, I had to kind of move out of the category of being, uber cautious for, otherwise I wouldn't even be able to work. Like I couldn't get out.
Right.
I mean, and it's like, I don't want people, cause I've had people, how social media is, like being like, oh, it's funny that you're out there playing shows, but you talked all this shit during the pandemic. It's like, well, like I didn't talk shit. I did that. Like that was, I wore masks everywhere all the time. I mean, even at the beginning of all of it, like I was wearing gloves for a while. I was I was just like, what the hell? I'm going to do whatever I can.
Oh yeah. I bought a shitload of rubber gloves and yeah.
I mean, and I know to some folks it sounds stupid, but it's like, hey, I've always been super careful, and I just got to a point to where, I got vaxxed as early as I could.
Yeah.
And, I just wanted to start living life again. And, I can't, obviously it's getting bad again, and I'm going to have to, potentially, reevaluate that. But I mean, right now, it's, I don't know what else to do. It's like, I got to keep on going, brother.
Have you tried singing with that mask on, man?
It
sucks.
No. Yeah. If I'm doing like light falsetto singing, maybe, but
yeah, no. We do it. We've been doing it at rehearsal. Obviously we came back to masks and rehearsal and shit, but we had a couple of gigs a few weeks ago before, the weekend, before my grandma's, was it? Yeah, it was the weekend before 4th of July, I think. Whatever. We had a gig like that Thursday, and then we had a gig like that Saturday. And and the next week, there was a photographer at the gig we played on Thursday, and she posted a photo of all this medicine on her bathroom counter, and she's like, man, I got vaccinated, and I can't believe I tested positive for COVID. And I was like, oh shit. So I sent that to the rest of the band, and Benjamin wrote back like, oh shit, that looks like my bathroom counter. And everyone was like, go get tested. And sure enough.
Wow.
But it's weird. It's funny. I was talking to Scrappy about it. Scrappy's another guy that got vaccinated and got it,
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's happened.
Yeah. But he was saying something. It had happened where he was playing. I don't want to say the name so that people don't boycott it, but he was playing a place, and he was like, okay, 6 people came out of that with it. But there was about 200 people there, or 150 people there. So when you really do it, like, it is 90% effective. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah. Yeah. And it's man, it's wild. Like, I was, cause I have a friend who is, obviously very much anti everything when it comes to vax, and I won't even get into it, but like we were talking about the other day, and I was like, literally, like, everybody that's dying right now is dying because they didn't get vaccinated. Like 99.5%, and it's just, but then when you talk about 90%, it's like, yeah, hey, there you go, and so there is always going to be that chance. And I think that that's the hardest part about it, no matter what, like even getting back to work, is like, man, it's a like diminished percentage, but it is not zero.
Yeah. No, it is not zero, but it is diminished. If you got the vax, it's going to be a lot better than the lunatics running around without it.
Substantially less.
So
I'll go with that.
Are you going to do Ryan Holley shows, and you have a band? Yes. So that's, I've hit a couple of bumps in the road, getting the band together just with some unforeseen circumstances with some folks. But yes, I absolutely will. And I'm actually doing a show on Friday this week at Hudson's with parts of the band that I will be using moving forward. And I think, and honestly, man, I think that it's probably going to be a semi rotating cast of characters, just simply because life these days. But ultimately, like a lot of the cats that I want have moved or they're busy, Right,
so
right.
I want to, or they're just doing life, man. It's, how it gets. It's like, I think that, you and I, it's like, I've been doing, for a long time, I didn't do music full time. And, I was a pawnbroker for almost 20 years, and that was kind of my main gig. But you
played more than almost anyone I knew. You were playing almost every night.
Yeah. And I guess I was doing it for a living, but I wasn't. I think it was actually taking away, for, you know what I mean? It's like,
Yeah.
a lot, for a while. But then whenever I kind of got back and I started, kind of getting back on top of things, I started doing it full time, and now, man, it's been going good for years, and it's just, I don't know. It's wild, man, trying to get to keep everything moving, because it definitely hasn't gotten any easier.
No. And it does. I keep on going through this thing where I can't tell if it's because I'm older or is it really that hard now?
It's gotten harder, man. I mean, I think obviously, as far as energy levels go, and just the amount of time that we can dedicate to something, that's definitely, less, like, for me, with everything I've got going on in my life. But man, it's gotten hard, man. There's, and it definitely seems, like at a point over the last 4 or 5 years, it really seems like there have been a really serious influx of what I would call, pros, man, like really, really, really good talent.
Yeah, dude, man, some of these kids that I see blow my fucking mind. And I guess it's because they have access to getting the knowledge in a different way than we had to know a guy that might know a guy that'll teach us a B7. You know what I mean?
Yeah, dude, I know. It's wild, man. But I mean, and I can, like, Luke Beasley, like Christine Renner.
Yeah.
She was a woodshedder way back in the day. And then, I keep track of a lot of my old students, and Emma Dean Mosley is, again, another one's absolutely fantastic. And there are plenty more where that came from. And I mean, these, there are a lot of them are in their early 20s, like Vision Arcade is one of those, the bands that I really like. Holy Death Trio is a younger band. And man, I'm telling you, I've just been super impressed. So with that being said, it is getting harder. I think the competition is stiffer, and you got people that are younger and far more savvy than you are at social media stuff. And man, that's where it's at these days. A lot of these agents are younger, and the talent buyers are younger. And so they're looking at your social media stats. Oh, yeah. And I know that's probably not news to a lot of folks, but it's news to a lot of, like, older folks in the music business. It's like, that matters now. I mean, it has for a while, and you just didn't believe it, or not you, but you know what I mean? It's like a lot of people didn't believe it. Right. But now
over the last decade, our people our age and older have phased out of those jobs, and now they're being taken, like, by the next gen. You're right. Yeah. 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 And I'm struggling with that, to be completely honest. Like, I have really struggled. I have reached out to a ton of places, and what I'm going to do is I'm trying to get back on it this week, because I've got, at ACL Radio last night, I've got KOJ on Tuesday and Talking to You today. And then I'll be on Fox on Thursday morning. And then I've got Friday and Saturday shows. I'm opening up for Wade Bowen on Saturday. So I'm trying to I'm going to reach out to a whole bunch of places this week and be like, okay, this is what I'm doing this week. So please book me. Yeah. I'll bring people. Well, hopefully I'll bring people. We'll see. Yeah, dude, I did. I got offered 2 gigs in 2 days when things were looking like they were going to start opening back up, like in the beginning of March, right? And one was a place that I played a lot of times. And once again, I don't want to say because I don't want to be disparaging about it. But the other one was 310. And I thought to myself, like, in what world do I want to be in? Do I want to be in the thing where it's like every sort, or do I want to be in the same, occupy the same space that the Fix does when they come to town? Or like, you know what I mean? Or Matthew Sweet. I mean, look, they're not like selling bazillions of albums, but I feel like I want to have more of a show than a place with no backstage and all that stuff. So if I'm going to do a show and it's going to end up costing money because of a band and all that shit, I just want it to be the coolest experience, I can make happen. Luckily that place did it, but man, reaching out to places, like it is real hard. I've been trying to book some stuff, and it's sad to have to explain to you who you are in this weird way where you're like, well, I'm this guy. I used to be this other guy. Like, people were crazy about that guy, but I still do that stuff. You know what I mean?
Man,
I'm lucky for this podcast. I'm lucky for this podcast because people go like, "Oh, you the podcast guy?" You're like, yeah. Can I play?
Well, man, I ran into a buddy of mine that that was super excited. I hadn't seen him in a while, and he's actually playing with Brandon Callie's right now, my friend Tom. But I ran into him, and the first thing out of his mouth was he was super excited I was on your podcast. He loves
awesome.
your podcast. And I listen, man, obviously I listen in whenever I can. And I think most of the time it's always, with me, it's not an excuse, but it's like the 2-year-old.
Oh, yeah.
I'm always like,
dude. Yeah.
I'll start something, and then all of a sudden my headphones go,
yeah.
You know, it's like, and there's a 2-year-old behind me.
Right. Well, there's also like I have friends that are like, oh man, I've only listened to a couple of them. Like, I don't sit around fucking like expecting my friends to listen to 1,075 hours of me talking to people. Like, that just sounds horrible. I don't even want.
That's funny, but no. So the other thing is, I talked to Nathan, and I want to put together a songwriter thing with you.
Oh yeah,
like a swap with you and I, Nathan. Maybe somebody else too, or just us three. Whatever, it doesn't matter. I'd love to do it.
Oh, that would be really fun, man.
Or something, but yeah, it's been hard, and I am planning on doing shows, but man, I don't have much on the horizon. I'm trying to get. There's a cool place, a new place out here that's an old theater in Bertram. It's a small town, but you know they've had like some pretty great. They had Robert Earl Keen last month, and they had and I'm trying to kind of tap into that market a little bit. So I'm going to reach out to it's a Globe Theater. It's really pretty cool place too.
Yeah.
But the reason that I brought that up is I know exactly what you're saying. Like for me, the quality of my performance is far superior whenever the production is superior production. And it's just, I'm talking, I don't want to be that guy, because I feel that way with Departure sometimes whenever I send them, stage stuff, and they're like, well, you guys really need 6 mixes, and you guys really need this. And it's like, yeah, dude. Yeah. That's what we want. And that's what we do. And we, sometimes we travel, like we traveled with production all week last week, and that's what we did every night. And that's because whenever we do that, it's fucking badass. It's like, it's the best that it can be. And like 310, I know, is premier production and lighting. And I mean, let's be honest, man, it does me good on stage energy wise if there's a goddamn show going on.
Yeah. Like a concert. The lights go down and fucking you walk out from a place no one's seen you before. You weren't the guy leaning at the bar. I just was like, man, I've done that a lot, and I still have to do it all the time. But like, I think with my own solo thing, I'm going to really kind of just step it up if I can. Yeah. In a way.
Yeah, I totally agree. Like I've kind of tapped out on a couple of other gigs that I had at other places. Like I'm trying to get out of I really do enjoy doing it sometimes where I go and I play for 2 or 3 hours and all that. But I want to do that whenever I've got a full band behind me and we're up there kicking everybody's fucking ass in for a couple hours. It's like, I don't want it to be me playing Bob Seger covers and fucking CCR. And then, hey, this is an original that nobody's heard.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. That's a tough thing to do when you do the cover band, I think we were playing together when we did this, but I remember Skyrocket. Oh no, we opened for Skyrocket. Remember that?
At
no
Mohawk,
one could give
right?
a shit. No, it was at Antone's.
Oh, yes. Okay, I remember that one as well.
Okay, so we did these shows at Mucky Duck like 10 or 11 years ago or something. I know you and I were playing together, but they were like, "Oh, let's each do an original song." That was the dumbest shit. Like trying to throw in even back of a magazine in one of the nope. That is not what I came for.
Just no. Yeah. And I've had to do that a lot at Hudson's because I've gone in there, like I go in there and I haven't done it in a while. But I used to go in there and play with Brian Lee a lot, and we would just do a lot of covers, man. We'd do maybe like one original, but people, they've enjoyed that. We'd mix it up, like some 90s stuff, some 80s stuff, modern stuff. And, but I've had to ease back into this because the last 2 shows I've brought Nathan out there with me, and I have been and he's played a lot more originals than I did, but I've done more originals, and I've just been easing everybody into the fact that next time I play here, and this was last month, 2 months before that I'm going to be doing mostly originals. Like I'm going to do a bunch of covers, but I'm going to do like 10 or 12 originals, and it's going to be with the band. And I've just been making sure that everybody knows that, because I'm doing a lot better job at controlling my temper these days. But there's nothing that pisses me off more than when somebody, you're in the middle of an original and they're watching your band with your name on it. and they walk up and like, hey, can you play some covers?
Oh yeah.
And it's like, I've been playing covers all night. It's like, I don't like you.
Yeah, dude.
But hey, it is what it is. And I know that, people pay to see me, and you know how it is, man, that you've done it for a long time too. It's like, a lot of times I like making people happy, and that makes me happy. So if it's,
right.
So it is what it is. But,
yeah. We played this wedding the other night on Saturday, and I had to learn that Aerosmith song, Don't Want to Miss a Thing, is like the first dance. And, you're like, dude, I was fucking fuck that. And then, the moment was great, but you're in the middle of a show, but Benjamin sent a video yesterday of it, and you're like, oh shit, man. I was the dude singing in the most important moment in their life so far.
Yeah.
That's fucking awesome.
Man. And I agree. I agree with that. And it's, so I did a wedding in Dripping Springs 2 months ago, and I sang "I Remember You," a Skid Row tune.
Yeah.
And I get done on my break, and this dude walks up and he's like, "Man, you got to meet my buddy over here. He's a producer." I walk over, it's Dwight. And Dwight's like, "I thought that was you." And then he gave me hell about why I should have been singing for Iceburn Electric, and that was about it. But it was really funny. It was so funny. It was good to see him.
Yeah.
Because he's over. Whenever they get back, they're over. Playing for like 20,000 people with Wind and Wave and all over the place and shit. So it's like. But he's like, "Man, you got to meet my friend. He's a producer."
That's so funny.
But yeah, and we got some video of that, and it's the same damn thing. They were just out there looking at each other, and at the end of the night, they were so happy. They gave us a great tip and all this stuff, but it was just it made me feel better about all of that stuff, and it's good. You got to remember that shit, because if you don't, then you get jaded and fucking pissed off.
Yeah, and the thing is like there's a weird thing that you really only see as you get older, because you and I were both so driven and motivated as young people to get out there and just do this thing, and we had this one sort of goal. We're trying to get this record deal, trying to get this thing so that way we can be in the big game and do whatever it is. That shit doesn't last very long for anyone. Like it just doesn't.
Yeah.
Like even if we would have had some kind of like giant thing, Fastball's still a band that's over there playing the same place as we are. You know what I mean?
Yeah, man.
They're a number one single. All that shit's just like, it's all, and you look at it and you think about, well, like to have made this choice as lifers, we found a way to make a living, and we found a way to still play music, to still create new shit like you're doing now and getting out, and
yeah,
it's just not as
I agree.
That's also, I think, what happens, how our tempers have tempered themselves over time, is because it's not the end of the world. It's a fucking gig. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And I've had, even recently I've had some gigs that really, really tested my patience, but it was from a booking standpoint, but it's also at the end of it, every one of them at the end of it, I shit you not, it came out great. And I lost a lot of time just super stressing over, a couple, and one of them was what I would consider like a bigger money gig, and had to do with weather, where I had to rent a stage, most of the money was going to the stage, and it was just, that kind of thing. And man, I should have just rolled the fucking punches, man. And I'm still learning,
Yeah, we all are, man.
Shit. but yeah, that's a tough one.
Yeah. So, all right. So Home comes out. Let's get back to these singles. Do you have are you RyanHolley.com or no?
Yeah. So I have RyanHolley.com. I have RyanThomasHolley.com, either one. But, and it's literally, you're probably going to see a lot of changes in it today. It's been one of those things where I had another site kind of ready to go, and it fell apart due to a wacky developer person, and I just decided to completely ditch it, and it sucks, because it's kind of like I wanted that to be ready months ago, and all that, but I do have it up. I have a site up. It's outdated, but it will be updated either
by the
today
time
or
this
tomorrow.
comes out. Yeah, people have it.
And it'll be there, and plus the single doesn't drop until Friday anyway, and I'm and that's the other thing. It's like I had to do all of this stuff on my own. Because I just signed they haven't even announced it yet. It happened a few weeks ago, 2-3 weeks ago now. But we were literally waiting on some stuff. Like I'm still waiting on a buddy of mine to finish a bio. That's a great writer. He wrote for the Chronicle. He writes for AP. And that's not done yet, but they're going to do an announcement this week, and I'm going to have my bio and some new graphics up there. We're going to upload some stuff tonight, and so the label's not announcing until this week anyway. Okay. So it's I feel confident that they'll be able to hit whoever I need to, and especially whenever. And I'm about to release, and I actually haven't even told you this, but I'm about to release 40 songs out of my back catalog. I have never had anything on streaming services ever, except for the American Revival and like Iceburn Electric. But none of my stuff that I've written has ever been on streaming services ever.
Wow.
And I was anti, and I still am, but I've got to, it's a necessity. And actually, the only tune, like the Revival record that we released in 2019, had Rise and Fall on it, and Rise and Fall and Home were written at the same time, and they were supposed to be on the same record. And then the band kind of disbanded before Rise and Fall got to come out. But that's the only song that I've ever written that has ever been on streaming services. I've had other co-writes. Other co-writes have been, but I'm going to be releasing all of the Wartime Social catalog. I'm going to be releasing, the singles from the Blondes. I'm going to be releasing all the Pavlov's Dogs stuff. Some other, and I got to reach out to the guys in A+ Machines. I'm gonna see if there's a way that we can get some of the A+ stuff streaming.
Yeah, that'd be great.
But I've got about 40 songs, including my solo record that I released in 2010, that are going to be dropping over the next several months.
Awesome, dude. That's great. I've been thinking about. I spent. It's one of those things that all these people like you at the end of the pandemic, you're like, fuck, I could have learned like French. I could have gotten a degree in like fixing my own car or something. You know what I mean? Like, but one of the things is like, well, now that I'm locked down, I'm going to make a box set. And I just didn't. I didn't have the patience.
Well, yeah, and I actually did. So that's what I did part of the time. Is I got everything. Yeah, I had everything out of my box. I have masters, and I have, in most cases, at least 2 hard copies of everything that I've ever done. And I mean, that goes back to cassettes and the shit. And so I spent all that time archiving the stuff and just kind of reviewing it, man, because I knew that I was going to be trying to release it. I knew I was talking to Independent Ear. We'd been discussing a back catalog because I'm talking to a few people about some publishing stuff. And I finally, got smart and said, hey, I've also got 40 songs in the fucking can over here that have been done for years. And they're all, how you get like older stuff. You're like, well, I've done better stuff, but you never know the way people are going to react to it, whatever. But now, I pitched to the label and we're talking about, getting on instrumental playlists for my solo record. So I recorded half of that, 20 years ago. And it's good. And, I know a lot of people are like, man, I play this for my kids when they're going to sleep. They love it. They go to sleep, whatever, that kind of shit. But it's, so I'm thinking about expanding on the multiple genre playlists and doing different things with music that I released up, some of it 20, 25 years ago. So it's cause it's never been out there, man. And half the hard copies are either, busted or in a box or don't exist anymore. So.
Yeah. Yeah, man, that's fucking awesome, dude. I'm excited for you. I really am. It's great, man. I want to hang out at some point.
Yeah, I know.
I want to play a show. I gotta meet your kid.
Man, yeah, and he's great, man. He's already got a Questlove pocket kit. He's been playing drums a little bit. Well,
nice.
Really for the last 6 or 8 months, and he's got good stick control already, and he's messing around with it. So it's pretty fun. But,
that's awesome.
But yeah, I want you to meet him for sure.
Yeah. How's Ashley doing? She doing good?
Man, she's great. She's great. She's working for Dell and, just kicking ass.
That's great.
At Dell. Like works in their colors, materials, and finishes area.
Is she working globally from home right now or no?
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Awesome.
Yeah, she has been. They're supposed to start phasing back in September, but it's every day goes by and it's looking less and less like that's going to be the case.
Yeah. Well, I hope for all of our sake that this is, whatever happens isn't devastating again, because that was exhausting. And I feel like I made it through one.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I was like, okay, I made it through that one. I didn't get kicked out of my apartment, didn't have to sell anything. I made it.
Right.
I don't want to have to fucking do it again.
Yeah. Well, I mean, no shit, man. I mean, it's, yeah. Well, and for me, the only positive aspect about it going back that way would be that I'm not with the woodshed anymore, but I'm doing, I cut my class load or student load in half. And so I've still got students, but man, that's like a percentage, like 25% of what I need and what I,
right.
I mean,
oh yeah.
We can make it work, but man, I don't want to make it work. I want to fucking thrive.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I don't want to do it at others' expense. I don't want that to be misconstrued, obviously, but it's like, I don't want that to happen. And it's just all about people being safe, man. And that's just not looking good right now.
No, people are dumb. The Independent Ear Music Group, what are they bringing to the table?
Man, so right now, like what I wanted from a label or from a manager or from, whoever it was that kind of stepped into the role,
whatever
was
kind of team.
Somebody that was going to help me execute things that were potentially a little out of my reach. And, I feel like I've got a decent foothold on some stuff here, but I feel like I need help expanding, and especially in the social media realm. And they're gonna kind of press my, they're gonna put me out of my comfort zone a little bit. Like on social media, I'm gonna be doing more posts, I'm gonna be doing more live stuff, and a lot of it, I think I'd be okay if I did it on my own, but I think that they're going to bring a lot to the table in terms of well, you know how it is, man. And whenever it could be anybody, it could be your, Uncle Jim calling somebody else on your behalf.
Right. That helps
The only
out.
thing that anybody sees is that you've got somebody else calling on your behalf. And for some fucking crazy reason, that is a thing. And it has been since the beginning of time. And so it's like, I've had, I'm not going to name any names. So I've had some great people that I've worked with. And then I've had some people that I worked with that were, the only thing that they were good at was they were good on the fucking phone. And that's it,
Yeah.
And so it's one of those things that these guys, the part of the crew, they've got some people overseas, one of our guys, Jasper's in Norway, and then some other folks. And so I feel like we've got some people in different places. I got an artist in Chicago. We've got one in LA. We've got one in Atlanta, and there's not a lot of artists. There's a pretty wide variety, of artists. There's, some R&B, some rap. There's some kind of house and trance stuff. And there's me, and there's some other people that are coming on board. So I think it's going to be good to sort of broaden my horizon a little bit, on social stuff, but also to get it out and to increase visibility.
Yeah. Well, dude, this song "Home" is incredible. When does the next one come out?
Man, so we're kind of in the planning process, but tentatively it's going to be next month, and pretty soon, actually. I think probably in about 3 or 4 weeks after Home drops. Okay. But there's also a chance that we might do a sort of kind of sub-release thing, not promote it quite as hard, but release, either my first solo record or release Wartime Social stuff. Right. Or really, we're still trying to determine what that's going to be. And I think that I'm kind of hip on maybe waiting until September, but we'll see. I'm trying to take some advice, and you know how it is sometimes. It's hard to let go of control of something whenever, especially coming out of this week. I feel really happy with what I managed to kind of cobble together on my own, and it wouldn't be without people like Laura Slow. I mean, my God, like and it's crazy because I debuted on Local Licks on September 11th. Like Pavlov's Dogs was on Local Licks Live on September 11th, and that was my first time ever being in the studio. She wasn't there, but we did it, and she gave me my first radio spin in the 90s, so she was. She spun it a couple weeks ago. She's spinning it Tuesday night on Local Licks. She spun it last night on ACL Radio. So people like that, Ali Kerr at Fox, been great. A few other people, man, but it's been, I'm happy about what I got done, but I'm also super excited about, combining what I can do with what they can do. And I'm really hoping that it pans out.
Right. Yeah. I hope so too. Sorry, my arm is cramping.
Yeah, that's all right.
Oh God. Oh, it's totally cramping. Okay. So, well, dude, it's been incredible talking to you and catching up. We do need to hang out or do something at some point.
I agree, man. Soon.
Yeah. Congratulations on this music. I'm glad that your stuff's getting out there. You're an amazing artist, and it's great. It's just great to know you and to have had the fucking insane experiences we've had together, playing together, and Man,
thank you very much. It means
man.
a lot coming from you, and obviously, I always love playing with you. I always love playing music with you, and being a friend to you and having you as a friend, man. So it's been great. I know we have absolutely been through some wild shit and managed to live to tell. So it's good. But yeah, man, let's plan to hang soon. And thanks for having me.
No problem, man. Congratulations too. Yeah.
Thank you, dude.
Yeah. As much as it sounds fucking great. Like, I mean, it's radio ready and all that shit. Like, you did a fucking great job.
Man, thank you.
Yeah.
And Miles, I cannot give enough props to Miles. And kind of lastly, it was mastered by Denny Stapleton. Jacob Gonzalez played guitar on it. Joe Devadanam played drums. Giovanna McDaniel was backup vocals, and I did like electric acoustic and vocals and bass on that one.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
Interesting. I'm not a great bass player, but I'm good enough.
Yeah, you are, man. Come on.
But yeah, thanks, man. We love it. I'm super excited to get it out.
All right, man. Well, let's stay in touch, and I want to do that show with you and Nathan. That would be a lot of fun.
Yeah, we'll try to dig something up, man. We'll see what we can do.
All right, man. Love you.
Love you too, brother.
Yeah, congratulations, by the way.
Thanks, man.
Yeah, talk to you
I'll see you soon.
Yeah, buddy.
All right.
And I don't wanna fight. Your life is better.
That was my dear friend Ryan Holley. You can find him at ryanholley.com. Go check out his single Home, available wherever it is that you stream and download your jams. Always great to talk to my dear old friend Ryan Holley. Don't forget, when you're out there checking out ryanholley.com, that you can subscribe to this podcast wherever it is that you find podcasts, be it Apple Podcasts, TuneIn, Overcast, Stitcher, Spotify, anywhere. New shows all the time. We're turning 10 years old next Tuesday. Next Tuesday, August 10th, is our 10th anniversary of our first episode coming out. So that's very exciting. And if you want to go back and check out, man, there's like 1,078 episodes out. You can go back into our catalog and go through it and check it out. And on Sundays, I'm dropping from the vault episodes. So look for those too. Ones from the past. But if you do want to see our entire catalog, go to Podbean, howdidigethere.podbean.com. Look on the right-hand column. It's all separated from month and year. So just go there and click on it. Start listening to podcasts, catching up. Also, you can get the Podbean app. And on there, you can access all 1,078 episodes of How Did I Get Here. Great talking to my friend Ryan Holley. Let's listen to the rest of his song, Home. You can find him at ryanholley.com. All right? Have a great week, whatever it is you're doing. Maybe I'll see you on the lake while I'm paddleboarding. What a dork. Let's get down.
You meant everything to me when I found you in a dream, but I couldn't take it back home. You're still so far away, but I let it go. And if I never dig it out, Lord, I may never know if this is real anyway. Do you like to be alone? And how does it feel when you hold that loaded gun? My life is better off without you. I best get on my way. I don't wanna bring you down, no, anyway. take you